Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel and the long awaited Will It Run video on the RS Turbo. What I will say before we even get started today, in the last video we noticed all these rags and Maz said to us that they're actually covering up the siren for the alarm because it was screaming. So I've just pulled the car in and I've disconnected that siren. That was the first thing I wanted to do because it's going to echo like crazy in here and give us all a severe headache. So, as you can also see by the thumbnail, we have got that other RS Turbo. And if we need anything, if we're going to need to swap anything over, that is our perfect opportunity. We're going to be able to go out there and borrow it off that car, put it on this car and just try a few different things. Hopefully it should run. We know that it's got a noisy fuel pump. He did mention there was a couple of other minor issues. I can't remember exactly what they are at the moment, but we will be going through the stages on the car today to try and get it running. So first things first, we're going to need to get in there and get that cam belt cover off it just to check that the cam belt is okay. Obviously we're going to be going down the road of putting a new one on it, but we don't want to waste our money until we've heard it run. But then we don't want to run it if the cam belt's all cracked. So we're going to crack straight on, get that cam belt cover off, start doing a few checks on it, get some fuel in it, just going through it, and then we'll cut back in and give you more of an update. Got the old charger on it, guys. Listen to this. First problem, Chris has just whipped all the covers off. We're going to have to unplug that. That's obviously faulty. And show us what you noticed, mate, down there.
Yeah, that's not so clever, is it?
Are they been cut through or are they melted?
I don't know. That one's stuck to that one, so possibly so.
They've got hot.
Yeah, something's been hot there.
So we have got a central locking issue. The other thing I am going to say, it's a little bit of a tip actually, and you don't know about it until you actually foul and do it. So Fords, all the older Fords, I'm not sure the newer ones do it, but the old ones certainly. As you can see, I've got that door latched. If you've got a dead battery on an old Ford and you put the battery on it or jump it, the doors automatically lock themselves. And this car ain't got no door locks, so we got to be very, very careful. We'll continue on just going around doing a few checks and of course remove that cover. But I was a bit worried about that. I wondered what it was. I got in the car and it just started going crazy. Let's move on. Nice and quite straightforward there. Get that cam belt cover off, just add 2 10mm in it, and I'll just whip these 10mm out of this header tank and got that out of the way as well. The cam belt does need changing, you can see it does, but it's not actually got any cracks in it, so that is going to be okay for us to run the engine. When I did take the cover off, you can see down there, at some point before it was parked up, I think it's obviously had a new fuel water pump on it. I've also been round, checked the oil, that's right on the maximum, so that's fine. And the header tank, you can see, it's actually got proper antifreeze in there and it's about halfway up, so that's all fine. The one thing I was just going to pick up on, every time we go to get in this car, now that the battery's on charge, the alarm does just keep going off, the indicators start flashing, and these buttons that I've got, I mean, I put the key in the ignition. I've done it a minute ago. The fuel pump sounds terrible. You've got this immobiliser here as well. Oh, the indicators are not actually flashing now, but the alarm just kept going off. Obviously, we can't... it's not screaming because we haven't got the siren on there, but for the most part, I'm going to whip down Dave Patrick's. Both of these fobs, they're quite old. GT, does that say, or CT? I'm just going to whip down and have 2 new batteries put in these. and at least give us half a chance. A lot of running around there. I went to Dave Patrick's and he didn't actually have the batteries, but he did open them up and said, Rob, they've both been, like one of them's been wet and the other one's quite corroded. So I run off to the local motor factors and got 2 batteries, and he tried this one, nothing at all, but he actually cleaned this one up for me. And as you can see now, the light's working. So the alarm's not going off at the moment, but when it does, when I put the key in or take that battery off and connect it back up, hopefully that turns the alarm off. Fingers crossed. Let's move on. No, it should be all right. Guys, we are going to spin it over. I've just put a gallon of petrol in it. We think we've got enough juice in the battery. We've checked the cam belt, water, oil, all of that sort of stuff. And the alarm hasn't started setting off since I've pushed that button. So Chris is going to wang it. Yeah, wang it over, mate. Trying. Stop there, Chris. Should we have the plugs out and check them?
Yeah, and might as well compression test it while they're out. It sounds like it's got plenty of compression.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. You can hear it firing. It's going. It's trying to start, but it has been sat there for all that time. I just said to Chris, let's whip the plugs out. We didn't actually do that, and have a look at them. And like, yeah, we probably have. And also, Chris just said, while they're out, we do a compression test, even though it does sound. It actually sounds like a CVH. Yeah, definitely. So we'll crack on and get that done. But that's a good start. It does sound all right. I know you all enjoyed this last time, so we're going to actually do it live for you. First cylinder. Don't forget that mobiliser, Chris. It's got one of those little pin mobilisers. Well, that was 6 bar. Yep. It's like just over 7 bar. Sorry? Yeah, I'm just going to take it out and show you. Second cylinder. It's going to be a bit awkward, this. Go on, mate. Yeah. 9.5 bar. Third cylinder, yeah. Yeah, 9.5. I hope you can see, guys. I'm probably standing right in the way there. Last cylinder. Yep, just under 10 bar. So quite low on the first one, 7. But saying that, it did only spin over a couple of times in the cut. So do you want to redo number 1? Should be all right.
Yeah, they're all dry, aren't they? That's getting no fuel, mate.
The fuel pump is quite noisy.
Yeah, that's getting no fuel, so there's probably nothing wrong with these plugs.
No. They actually don't look that old,
no,
do
we'll
they?
give them a little clean up and gap them.
Yeah.
And put them back in, but I don't think it's getting enough fuel.
No. We get that done, get them put back in and then move on. That is all the plugs back in there now. Chris cleaned them up, gapped them up and said that there's actually nothing wrong with them. While he was messing around doing the plugs, I actually moved over to the fuel filter and I undone the banjo at both ends, and there really is very minimal fuel coming out of that fuel filter there. Maz was completely honest with us when we bought the car. He did say, you can start putting that up, Chris. He did say that it had a noisy fuel pump when he parked it up. So we have got a second-hand fuel pump. We're going to get it up in the air, do some tests on it, and then chuck that one on. And I can check it. We'll hear it by the sound of it, but I can also check it again at the filter housing. You could hear when it was turning over there. It was trying to start, but it does. You said it sounded like it's under. The plugs were bone dry. There was just not enough fuel there. That's probably just trickling in slowly. So we're probably going to want that bonnet shut, aren't we? Yeah. That's the fuel pump there, guys. That's the second-hand one we got. So we hope we're going to chuck that on and really hope that that pushes the petrol.
You just stick this on the jump pack.
Double check that that's fine.
Yeah.
And then hopefully we'll put that on and that should push the petrol all the way up to the filter housing. Yeah, definitely. Let's do it. Battery pack, drain tray and the jump pack on there. Sounds a lot better and it's pumping hard. So we're going to chuck that one on and hope for the best. We put that new fuel pump on and straight away it made a bit of a noise priming and then it went really quiet. Chris is going to crack this filter off this end. It should have, fingers crossed, a bit of pressure. It certainly, yeah, mate, that just poured out of there.
Yeah, we've got loads of fuel there, haven't we?
So we've got good fuel pressure now.
A bit more promising, isn't it?
Yep. Well, we're going to give it another whirl.
Might as well, we've got nothing to lose, have
Let's
we?
do it, any rag. All back together and we're going to try it again. Fingers crossed, guys. Go for it, Chris.
Oh, I met a couple of times.
Yeah, I would, mate. Doesn't that sound better?
Not quarter, isn't it? Ready?
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah. It's actually worse, isn't it? It's not firing at all now. Mind you, that was quite a lot of spinning over last time.
We'll have to,
We got the fuel filter there and that goes down to that metering unit. So we'll crack a couple of them off and make sure there's fuel getting up to the injectors. Maz's brother, who we bought this off, Spiros, did say
he thought that needed
that there was an issue with the metering unit. And then Maz said he thinks it's the fuel pump. So it's just, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just trial and...
Process of elimination.
Process of elimination. There you go. It's a nice big word for me today. But we just got to keep going through it. I'm sure we will crack it in the end. Let's move on. I know a lot of you do always ask me to show as much as I can. So I am, hopefully, guys, showing a bit more today. We have just cracked that one off on the metering unit.
Well, I'll crank it.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, it's seeping out, but not very strong. Let me just undo it a little bit more. Go on, try that, mate. Yeah, it is seeping out. So that is getting fuel. Yeah, you can see it now. Touching it by, yeah, there's plenty of fuel there. We're just going to have to keep looking through. Guys, I've just said to Chris, yep, this was actually firing before we touched that fuel pump. So he's actually, I've just said, just keep wanging it over again. All we've done is that fuel pump. So it may not have built up enough pressure. I just don't know. So you ready, mate?
Yeah, just immobilise it, mate.
Oh, it's got one of those, I think I mentioned, little pin immobiliser. It's a bit of a pain. As soon as the light comes on, you have to, yeah, go on, mate. Yeah. Oh, yes! Yes! That does sound nice. That sounds lovely.
I wouldn't think there's anything wrong with that metering unit.
No.
That's just the pump.
How nice does that sound? I can't believe that. Guys, listen to that. Oh, I love that sound. Mate, I better open that door a little bit.
Yeah, 40.
Guys, can you believe that? That actually sounds really, really good.
Yeah, that's quite easy, really, isn't it?
I was starting to think that it weren't going to go. We'll let that warm up a little bit and we can give it a little bit of a rev, can we? That does sound really nice though. I'm made up, honestly, I'm so made up. It's been warming up for about 10 minutes and it does sound really good. And these gauges work. You can see the water temperature there now has gone up, and the proper temperature gauge on the car there is working as well. I don't know if you can hear it. Chris picked up on it even when the automatic choke was on. Now when we bought this, we was talking to Maz and Spiros said to Chris he thought there was something wrong with the metering unit, but Maz did say it had a noisy fuel pump last time I drove it, and once it warms up it's a little bit cammy. And Chris said straight away you can hear that cam. On lower revs you can hear it better, can't you? But it is quite cammy. Chris is going to give it a little rev up for us. It does sound, you can hear it's cammy, but it does sound nice. Let me get round the back. Yeah, go on, mate. I love that sound, guys. Bit of residue coming out the exhaust there. But really, really happy. Another one we ain't on. Fans just cut in. Only one of them. This one here is cut back out again. So one of them fans is not working. Yeah, it's back on now. Yeah, just that one. So it's another one we haven't got to push around. Right. It drives.
Yeah. Better make a list of bits that we've got the wall with.
Yeah, definitely. And then we can continue on with this build. I'm so happy. This running, guys, you can probably hear it in my voice. I can't wait to take this one for an MOT. No foot brake?
Straight to the floor.
Really?
Yeah. Handbrake's alright.
I'll let you turn around. Don't know if you heard Chris there, guys. No brakes at all. He said it goes straight down to the floor, but that's either where the hoses are perished, one of them may have popped, it might not have any fluid in it, or the fluid might actually be toast. Here he comes. It does sound really good. Yeah, you can tell he's not even trying the brakes. Brake lights are not coming on. Runs and drives. There we go. I'm well happy. It's actually a few days later now, guys, and we've just had a delivery. Let's get to the yard and open that up. Burton Power, we know what that is. So like I said, guys, we received a package. Now we're actually working on something else in the ramp, and this is a few days later, like I just said in the clip when I was leaving my house. And really, I've got all this out. Number one, it gives you a bit of an idea of what we are doing in the next video. Fuel filter, oil, brand new fuel pump, plugs, cam belt, water pump, idler, and a new cam and followers. Now Chris writ out a bit of a list, and I got in touch with Burton Power, and this is not something new to us. When me and Chris done that Mark II Escort, Mark III, we have always used Burton Power. They're our go-to people. They're over in Essex, and they do everything for these old classic Fords. And I actually rung them up and started chatting to Mr. Burton, Andy Burton himself. He explained that we was a YouTube channel and the build that we had. And he wanted to get involved, guys. He actually sent us out all this stuff to continue on with this project. So a massive shout out to Burton Power and Andy Burton in particular for hooking us up with all of this stuff. We really do appreciate it. And of course, we'll be getting on fitting this in the next video. Guys, I will put Burton Power's link in the description. If you need any of these old Ford parts, look them up. So guys, everybody's bit they don't like, the end of the video. I'm sorry, but we have to end it somewhere. Will it run? Absolutely, yes it will. And it drives as well. And we're made up. Having cars that we have to push around or tow around with a quad is a bit of a nightmare. We get by, and if we had to do it every day, we would do it every day. But it's so nice to get them running, and being able to drive it is brilliant. Even though you've got to use the handbrake, the foot brake don't work. There is a little bit more work than we thought, but thankfully, again, huge shout out to Andy at Burton Power for hooking us up with those bits. They really is going to help with that build, and I can't wait to get that cam in there and hear how nice that's going to sound. And of course, all the new cam belt, water pump, etc. as well. So, I want to say thank you to everybody. We've noticed quite a lot of the new subscribers that come through actually left comments saying, I've found your video on one of the forums, the classic Ford forums and classic car forums. So, to everybody that does share these videos, a huge thank you to you. It really does help, and we really do appreciate it. Also, if you do enjoy the video, as usual, we always appreciate a thumbs up, and of course, it shows your appreciation. We started putting quite a few more little bits and pieces out on Instagram, so if you haven't followed us there, it's Salvage Rebuilds. The merchandise, the link is in the description down below. Like, subscribe and share, and we look forward to seeing you all very soon in the next one.